Hey everybody, welcome back to Swift Lessons for another by request song tutorial. In today's session, we're going to be jumping into the Joe Cocker version of You Are So Beautiful, featuring the legendary Dean Parks on acoustic guitar. We're going to get started with a full demonstration of the tune. I want you to see what you can figure out on your own, and then you can jump into the instructional segments. Be sure to download my free tab at patreon.com/swiftlessons. Let's get started. 3 and 4 and... You are so beautiful to me. You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see? You're everything I hope for. You're everything I need. You are so beautiful to me. Such joy and happiness you bring. Such joy and happiness you bring. Like a dream, a guiding light that shines through the night. Heaven's gift to me. You are so beautiful to me. Let's break that down. Okay, a close look at the fretboard. Getting started with our intro section. We're in standard tuning. We have a capo here on the first fret, and we're in the key of G sharp. But we're going to be discussing everything today as if we're in the key of G. So once again, the intro looks and sounds like this. All right, and that's going to repeat twice through. Alright, so we started off with a G major chord. We don't need to fret the whole thing. We can get away with just grabbing the root note, 3rd fret of the low E string relative to the capo. We're going to play. Alright, that was a double pluck, E and B together, open D, and then the open B. So, next we're going to play. Alright, we're calling that chord F7 flat 5. 1st fret of the low E string and 2nd fret of the G string. We're playing. Alright, the double pluck, open B, open D, and then open B again. You put those two chords together and we have... Alright, then we're going to play E minor, and we could just play a double pluck, but I like to kind of drag through the strings like this. All right, so I'm strumming through to the B string, down with my thumb, and then an upstroke with my middle finger on the B string. Next, grab the 2nd fret of the G string and pull off to the open string. All right, then we're just gonna play. All right, that was D, G, D, or 2-0-2. then we're moving to a C major chord. It's actually going to be a C major 7, but we're not going to play the major 7. Just strum down to the G string. Before going to the D string, sliding it up a full step, and then playing the open G. All right, so that second measure. All right, and the full intro twice through. All right, I like to let that ring. A little bit of a cliffhanger is a nice touch before jumping into the verse. All right, getting started with verse 1, we can break it up into 2 parts, A and B. Let's tackle them line by line. All right, so here is verse 1A, line number 1. Looks and sounds like this. You are so beautiful. To me. All right, that'll get you to line 2. All right, so in that first measure, all right, I'm playing the G major chord just like I did in the intro. All right, that double D, B. And then we're gonna play the 4th fret of the D string coupled with the open B, and then bring it down a half step. All right, so it's kind of like we're going from the major 7 to the dominant 7. All right, so. You are so. Next, we're going to a C major 7 chord. I'm going to put my thumb on the A string and arpeggiate. All right, so right there I played A, D, G, double, B and high E strings together, then D, G, B. All right, and this is taken directly out of a live performance. All right, you put those 2 measures together and we have you are so beautiful. All right, then we're moving to C minor / F, and we're gonna play. All right, and how you time these notes is going to be up to you. There's a lot of room for variation here. But I was trying to copy a lot of what he did in these live performances. In the organic version, he's playing E, D, G, D, E double, the D string and the G string together. That sums up line number 1. Let's see if we can play it. You are so beautiful. To me, here's line 2. You are so beautiful. All right, so we're gonna have a variation to our picking here. Remember, this is kind of like Travis picking, where our thumb is going to be controlling the low notes and we're using our index, middle, and maybe even our ring finger to control the high strings. But there's going to be some variation to that, and of course, you need to do what's comfortable for you. All right, so right here we're playing. Very basic pattern over the G chord. Once again, all we need is the root note. E, D, B, G. Next, go to the 4th fret of the D string, just like you did before. D, G, B, G. Do the same thing down a half step. Next measure. All right, so that's a G dominant 7 we're implying, and we're playing D, G, B, G, D, G, B, letting it ring, which is great. It gives us a little bit of breathing room here before moving to the C major 7. All right, so far in line number 2, you have. All right, then over the C major 7 chord, we can play. Very similar to what we did to the E minor chord in the intro section. So we're gonna start off hitting the low notes inside this chord. All All right, I'm using my thumb and my index for that. All right, then I'm going to play the G and the B strings together. From there, I can just hit the root note, but again, I like to drag through the strings, give it that kind of pseudo raschiato, and play. So I strummed from the A string down and upstroked on the B string. Then I'm gonna do a pull off on the G string. All right, 2nd fret of the D, open G, and then back to the D string. All right, so it really is the same lick, but now being transposed over the C chord. So. All right, and lines 1 and 2 together should sound like this, real slow. You are so beautiful. To me. Sliding up sounds nice. You are so beautiful. All right, that gets you to the final line of verse 1A, where we're gonna play. Alright, that's an optional variation to the picking pattern there at the end. Alright, so we had the same chord that we had in the intro. It's going to be F7 flat 5. But for whatever reason, I feel more comfortable actually mirroring Dean's technique using my thumb for the bass note here. So I'm going to play. So I've got 1 on the low E, 1st fret of the D string. I'm going to strum through, hit the open G string, and hammer on to the 2nd fret. That's going to be the major 3rd of this chord. Then, just kind of lilting through those notes, hitting the low E, D, G, D with this rhythm. Then it's back to business as usual, picking it apart. At the last measure, we can switch up our picking a little bit. We can play D, G, B, G, B, G, D. All right, but that's totally optional. If you want to stick with the same pattern, you're more than welcome to. All right, you put that line of music together and we have G7. All right, now putting all of that together, verse 1A should sound like this, starting from the G chord. You are so beautiful. To me. G major 7, G7. Let it ring, C major 7. F7, G, G major 7, G7. All right, now I want you to be comfortable with picking through this any way you like, as long as you're staying in time and you're complementing the vocal line well, anything's gonna work. All right, that'll get us into verse 1B, getting started. With the C major 7 chord, here we have the more evocative changes. All right, line number 1 is gonna look and sound like this. You're everything I hope for. You're everything I need. All right, then back to G major. All right, so we have the C major 7 chord, and whenever I need to do a double pluck on the B and the high E string, I'm going to arpeggio like this. All right, that just seems to work better. So A, D, G, double pluck, D, G, A. Ending on the root note on that measure is going to create a nice little walk down to the next chord, B dominant 7. All right, put that together, C major 7. Then B7 we're gonna play. All right, so that chord frets 2, 1, 2, 0. That's all we need. We're going to play A, D, G, B, D, B, G. All right, a little bit of space there. All right, then we have a sequence over E minor. I'm going to take some liberties here, but it's still going to be pretty true to what Dean's playing in a lot of these performances. So I'm playing. All right, then I can move to an A sus2 and move my way back to the G chord, the root chord. All right, so over the E minor, I'm going to grab frets 2 on the D string and 3 on the high E string. I got a syncopated rhythm to start off. So that was D, G, B, E. Then I'll take that shape down a half step and make all the notes even. And then do the same thing to the open strings. So. All right, from there I can go to A sus2, add 13 and play. All right, so right there I played A, D, double pluck. All I've got is 2nd fret of the D string. Then finally, I hammer on to the 2nd fret high E string, followed by the open string, and a slide up. All right, you can couple that with the open G string before going back to G major. All right, so far you have. You're everything I hope for. You're everything I need. All right, then to get back to the G chord, we're going back to that original sequence. Double D, B, 4, 3. Take a C major 7 chord, arpeggiate it. Alright, a cliffhanger on C minor /11, frets 1, 1, 1 of the E, D, and B strings. Alright, you can hit the root note and strum through, or just kind of drag your fingers, strum down with the thumb, and grab the B string with the middle finger, just like we did before. Alright, that's a great way to end the first half of the tune. Alright, you put all that together and we have verse 1B. Let's see if you can play along, nice slow tempo, just the guitar. Here we go, C major 7, 3 and 4 and C. B. E minor. A. Slide. C major 7. Minor, let it ring for dramatic effect. Then we're back to G major. Familiar techniques. Such joy and happiness to get ourselves into the next verse and the second half of the tune. Okay, beautifully done everybody. Great news. Now you have everything you need to be able to play through this tune. Everything from here is just going to be melodic variation, which you can choose to add into your performance. Okay, so jumping into verse 2A, we have that familiar picking line over the G major chord. G7, G major 7, such joy, and then this really cool line over C major 7. To get you to line number 2 and the C minor /F chord. Okay, so same exact thing that we were playing before on the G, G major 7, G dominant 7, E, D, B, G, D, G, B, G, D, G, B, G, D, G, B. Now the C major 7 chord we're gonna play. Alright, so C major 7 chord, I'm going to strum the chord using my thumb and my middle finger, paintbrushing the strings. then the D and G strings, followed by another strum. We gotta time that right. 1 and 2 and 3. All right, from there, we're just gonna hit the D string, strum again. All right, if you wanna omit the root note, that might be helpful. Because right after that, we're gonna play a cool little bluesy phrase, sliding 2 up to 3, back down to 2, and pulling off to the open G string, then 2 and 2, G and D strings. Now, to fret those notes, I'm starting off on the pad of my finger. Then, when I need to go to the D string, I'm rolling up to the tip of my finger. So that's all my middle finger. Open G note gets us to the next line of music. You put that together and we have line 1 of verse 2A. Should sound like this, starting from the G chord, 1 and 2, major 7, dominant 7. Let it ring, C major 7. All right, then into line number 2, we're gonna play. Then go back to G. 1 and 2 and. All right, then from there we can go to the C chord and rehash that same exact lick that we had before. Okay, so over the C minor / F chord, coming out of that lick that ended line number 1, we're going to the open G string. All right, and this is a slight adjustment to what I heard Dean Parks play. So the open G string, then we're arpeggiating the chord, E, D, G, reach out for the 3rd fret B string. Now in the performance that I saw, he just lets that ring, but I really like going down to the 1st fret there at the end of that measure. So. All right, we're gonna sing You Bring as we go back to the G major chord. Same exact sequence, but now we can throw in a walk up, which is something that he would do. 4th fret. And a little variation there on our picking. So we played that walk up, 0, 2 to get to the G dominant 7, D, G, B, G, D, G, strum. Grabbing 3rd fret of the high E string, a piece of a G major chord, right? All right, so far you have, coming out of the lick, you bring such joy and happiness. All right, then from there, moving on to the next line of music, everything can basically be verbatim. Starting from the F7 flat 5. You bring, you can walk like a dream. All right, follow my tab there for the exact picking. That gets us to verse 2B, where we're gonna play the exact same techniques that we played before to get through this section. So, I got a light that shines in the night. E minor. Heaven's gift to me. All that was verbatim, the slide. You are so beautiful. All right, all of that should have been familiar. Just taking that C major 7 chord, cliffhanger C minor / F, let it ring before reprising the intro for an outro. We're gonna change it up here. All right, stopping at the C chord, moving back to the C minor / F before resolving on G major. And in my demonstration, I think I played a little slide. All right, which is a nice touch. Okay, so you end the tune with that outro, you put it all together, we should play E minor, ritardando. All right, you can also throw in some kind of extra notes here before resolve into the G. All right, for a really sweet ending. All right, friends, just like that, congrats, you're ready to perform. You got the full tune. Refer back to my demonstration to practice along. And of course, you can download my tab and my Guitar Pro at patreon.com/swiftlessons.